Greetings, DFG here, Gideon Flight. Hey guys, just want to give you an update on some information that I promised last month that I would share with you when there was more information available. And this is in relationship to a very, very serious topic. And I preface it with that this is a very serious topic because I hope that you care enough not to cut off the video before you hear what I want to share with you, because this may affect you, uh, affect your family, and I'm certainly sure that it affects people somewhere that you know, that although you may not have knowledge about it. And the subject matter again comes around human sex trafficking. You know, human sex trafficking is it's a $150 billion a year industry, $150 billion a year industry. And there's approximately 21 million people who are part of human trafficking every single year. 21 million people. Now that's an international number. In the United States of America, the number fluctuates. Like last year was somewhere between, between 600,000 and 800,000. So you can round that up to a million, or you can round it right to the middle and say 700,000, people were trafficked in the United States. And I'll give you some stats in a few minutes, some additional stats in a couple of minutes, just so you have some context that you can take this information and pass it along. And even if you decide not to pass this video along, hopefully I'll give you information that you can use to talk to your children about, because this is a very, very serious situation. And not only in human trafficking, obviously a big part of it is the sex trafficking, but it's not just sex trafficking that's a part of human trafficking. Organ trafficking is a big part of it as well. In other words, people are trafficking human beings for their vital organs, like their like liver transplants. There's a lot of people on waiting lists for liver, and so what they do, instead of them waiting for someone to die, who is a donor, what they do is literally kidnap people, purchase people, and kill them and take their livers and then sell their livers, to medical facilities and organizations or middlemen who medical insurance companies get, to do the dirty work, to purchase livers, from people to give to people who can afford, a liver transplant, okay? Or people in a position to receive a liver transplant. And then you got the forced labor aspect of it as well. But to get to the follow-up aspect of this, Robert Kraft, the owner of the New England Patriots, you know what I'm saying? Yesterday, a judge in Florida pretty much said that the video showing him on several occasions having sex is now inadmissible evidence. Inadmissible evidence. Okay, it went from him being a part of a human sex trafficking ring to soliciting prostitution, now to the evidence that is showing him in the act of soliciting prostitution now is thrown out. It's not even admissible anymore. Therefore, the prosecutors now will have to try to prosecute, if they decide to prosecute, without any evidence. Now, how could something like that happen, except that Robert Kraft is a part of the elitist group, the aristocracy, who pretty much make up the rules as they go. They have the money, the influence, for the most part, to get whatever they want. And this is an atrocity, and it shows how much disgust that they have for human beings and how little they think of us, those of us who they call useless eaters. Because at the end of the day, anytime there are laws, constitutional laws, that they hold you and myself accountable to, but they can change anytime, or they can manipulate anytime they want, not because it's a bad law, it's because the law doesn't apply to them. They can do it. And then not only can they do it, but they can do it with extreme malice in terms of no accountability, no consequences. You take Jeffrey Epstein, who is in the financial markets guy. He's a money market man. sure he's a billionaire. And, as you know, about a couple of years ago, he was found guilty of somewhere around 30 girls, 14, 15 years old, that he was running through a sex ring for a lot of important, what you would call important, I shouldn't even call these pigs important, because they're only important to themselves and for the people who kiss their ass. You follow me? To get ahead. To those groups, to them and to that group, they're important. For me, they're just a bunch of detestable, filthy pigs who really, should be put out of their misery. Because anytime you got to take advantage of little girls and little boys and children and innocent women just for your sexual pleasure, then you're not fit to walk among civilized people. They're not fit to walk amongst us. But they do, they can, and they make mockery out of the judicial system at our expense, because we pay for those judges who take and flip these laws and who turn their heads knowing that these men are guilty, but because of the letter of the law, and they get, as in Robert Kraft case, high-powered lawyers that can manipulate the law to let off their filthy, dirty, bloody-handed clients. And it's an insult to each and every one of us. Why do I have to obey the laws? Why are the laws applied to me? You know what I'm saying? Without, without mercy most of the time, okay? On YouTube, not just me, but all of it, without mercy most of the time. Whatever the letter of the law, it's the law. Nothing we can do about it. It's a mandatory law, and this we have to implement it. So why is the law applied to us in that way? But if I was a multi-millionaire or billionaire, all I'd have to do is get me some high-powered lawyers, probably go in there to the judge, pay off him, pay off some of the other people, get everybody quiet, get rid of the videotapes in Robert Kraft's case. In other words, they're not admissible. And then we get off, and they get off scot-free. I heard Rudy Giuliani, the former mayor of New York, I think he's Donald Trump's attorney right now, make a comment a couple of years ago when they were questioning the Russian probe into Trump. And they were saying that Trump was using certain privileges to avoid them being able to fully do their investigation. And when Giuliani was questioned on why is Trump hiding behind the law, Giuliani's comment to the reporter was, well, if the Democrats don't like the law, they need to change it. He never said that the law need to be put up vote for the citizenry, that we, the people, should reevaluate the law to see if it's a good law or bad law. He just simply said that anytime those people, the so-called aristocracy, and that includes Congress too, those people, that's the Senate, Congress, the executive branch, judicial branch, and the executive, judicial, and what's the third branch I'm thinking about? Legislative branch, I'm sorry. The legislative branch. All of those are part of, the aristocracy, just like it was hundreds of years ago in Great Britain, just as it is here today. There are laws that apply to the elite, and then there are laws that apply to us. And pretty much the laws that apply to the elite is that there is no law that applies to the elite. This, again, it's dehumanizing, it's hurtful, extremely harmful, and it happens to us because they see us as nobody. So in other words, the law gets applied to us and they get to walk away scot-free because they can get high-powered lawyers. And, what is a high-powered lawyer? I never knew that there was a trade called high-powered lawyer. I thought it was just attorneys. But I'm sure high-powered means they got enough money to pay off the right people. Another thing with Kraft, because he's going to get away with this now, because if there's no evidence, how can you convict him? They're going to end up dropping the case. Mark me. Okay? But but high-powered people, like Kraft or these lawyers, would it simply mean that they can pay off whoever they want to pay off to get their clients off. These clients have money, so therefore they're above the law. Now, here's another thing about Kraft. And Epstein, by the way. The man had 30 accounts of human sex trafficking and pedophile included in that. And he got 13 months in jail. That was his penalty, 13 months in jail. and pretty much had the evidence against him sealed. And the 13 months in jail only simply meant that he had to report to jail at night, but during the daytime, and he could go home to his island or wherever he was. Go figure. Can you imagine any one of you who are listening to me right now? If you had one child sex offense against you, you know good and so well, and they found you guilty, your ass would be in jail for a long time. He had 30, and he's at home scot-free today, working with his high client, his high-profile clients, living it up, laughing at you, laughing at me, because we're not taking this stuff serious enough. Okay? And then again, Kraft. I wonder if the NFL is gonna make him sell his team. Yeah, I said it. I wonder if the NFL is gonna make him sell his team, because when the Carolina Panthers owner made some racist comments, they forced him to sell his team. When the owner of the Clippers made some racist comments, the NBA Clippers made racist comments, they made him sell his team. So I wonder if they're going to force Robert Kraft to sell his team, since he was soliciting prostitution, caught soliciting prostitution, you know what I'm saying? And there's no question about it. He just was able to get the information submerged, hidden, so that, we, the public, who are supposed to be the judges of behaviors that violate the law, can make the right decision to make sure he's held accountable. And of course, as I said, it's not going to happen. So I wonder if the NFL are going to make him sell his team. Yes, I will say, I won't hold my breath. All right? But again, these people are pigs. They're vicious. They're wicked beyond your belief. And let me give you some stats real quick, and then I'm going to end this video, because I appreciate you sticking with me this long. I know it's a lot of dialogue, but I really want to hit you right between, your noggin. I want to make you think. All right? But here's some facts, and these facts are from DoSomething.org. Globally, the average cost of a slave is $90. So when you hear people saying Robert Kraft paid $80 or $70 for the prostitution, you look at that and say, well, he paid for it. See, it was just a prostitute. Bullshit. That woman was in sex. She was a sex slave. And the average cost, let me say it again to you again, so just so you have that number. Globally, the average cost of a slave is $90. $90, less than $100. Trafficking primarily involves exploitation, which comes in many forms, including forcing victims into prostitution, subjecting victims to slavery or involuntary servitude, and compelling victims to commit sex acts for the purpose of creating pornography. Number 3, according to some estimates, approximately 80% of trafficking involves sexual exploitation, and 19% involves labor exploitation. So most of these people who are human trafficking are for sex purposes. Number 4, there are approximately 20 to 30 million slaves in the world today. Number 5, according to the U.S. State Department, 600,000 to 800,000 people are trafficked across international borders every year, which 80% are female and half are children. Your children, somebody's children. Number 6, the average age a teen enters sex trade in the U.S. is 12 to 14 years old. 12 to 14 years old, the average age of the children in the trade. 12 to 14 years old. Many victims are runaway girls who were sexually abused as children. Number 7, California harbors 3 of the FBI's 13 highest child sex trafficking areas on the nation: Los Angeles, San Francisco, San Diego. Number 8, the National Human Traffic Hotline receives more calls from Texas than any other state in the U.S. 15% of those calls are from Dallas-Fort Worth area. Number 9, 14,500 to 17,500 people are trafficked into the United States each year. Number 10, human trafficking is the 3rd largest international crime industry behind illegal drugs and arms trafficking. It reportedly generates a profit of $32 billion a year. That's a profit. $32 billion. Of that number, $15.5 billion is made in industrialized countries. That means Western countries. And last but not least, the International Labor Organization estimates that women and girls represent the largest share of forced labor victims, with 11.4 million trafficked victims, or 55%, compared to 9.5 million, 45% men. So for those who think it don't apply to men, it does. Thank you for listening.